Nice. I like it. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Spencer Israel. That's Steve Straza. This is Chart Request Live, CRL, the show where you give us tickers and we give you, and by we, I mean Steve gives you analysis. Mr. Straza, how's it going today?
Going great, man. How we doing over there?
Doing great. Doing great. Okay. So, what we've been doing is like you and I and JC, when he's on, have been coming to the show with a few stocks of our own, and then we'll go to the chat. But every day we're getting more and more questions from the chat. So I only have one stock that was on my list today that I wanted to get to before the chat, and that is NVDA. If you can bring that bad boy up, because this is like it's ripping. What's up? 3.5% today? More? I don't know. It's ripping. It can't stop, won't stop. My question to you is, when is this thing going to hit a new all-time high? Because it seems like it goes up every single day.
By the end of the week, it's looking like at this point, right?
Yes.
I mean, I was just pinging Milton here about Netflix, asking, what's
That
the
too.
driving these stocks. And, a lot of us in the biz are just like, this is crazy. And I said to him, big tech ain't playing around. And that's really what this comes down to. These mega cap growth names, these mega cap tech names just continue to be by far the best trends in the market. If you haven't been in these stocks this year, you're underperforming. And it's, pretty select names in the large cap space, or a select group that's driving this thing. NVIDIA is one of them. Like you said, how much longer to new all-time highs? Well, let's check here. On a closing basis, we need like another 4.5%, 5%. And on an intraday basis, maybe 9%, because you got that big wick over here from late 2021. But look, this base took a year to shape out and then run back to those old highs, right? So this is a pretty big pattern here that's playing out. We probably get to these new all-time highs pretty quickly based on the price action we're seeing. And then from there, I know we had a question in the chat for the morning show today about this, Spencer. So let's just give a secondary, because we're basically there, right? It's that time. So initial price target, back to those all-time highs, basically there, like I said, 333. And then from there, about 470. 470 measures out the 160, 1.8% fib. That's where I'm looking. And listen, NVIDIA is probably the first one of the big cap tech names to get back to those all-time highs. But it's just showing us a path for what we can expect now from Microsoft, Google, Apple, right? The other big boys. I think they're all going back there.
I have this thing with with tech stocks specifically, and that is when they're ripping, I think to myself, oh my gosh, they're never going to stop going up. And then when they go through periods of consolidation or they cool off as every stock does, I think to myself, this thing is never going back to where it was. That was insane.
Right.
So I can't win is what I'm saying. I can't win.
Spencer, you make a good point, right? Like, we were talking not long ago about some of these tech stocks and saying, oh, they're down 70% or whatever. And, they're probably not ever heading back to those all-time highs, and they're never going to get that valuation again. But guess what? Some of these stocks are well on their way to getting those big valuations that we had just a few years back. So again, big tech is very hard to bet against. These guys are involved in the biggest secular trends in the world. A number of them, right? When we're talking about the NVIDIAs and Amazons and Microsofts and Apples, they have various revenue streams, diverse revenue streams, and they're involved in all of these growth areas. AI, obviously, the big one now that we're all talking about, but they're doing everything. They're doing cloud. Amazon's got different businesses, retail, this and that, delivery, logistics. You don't want to bet against these names. This is where we want to be.
All right, let's go to the chat, and we'll do it on a first come first serve basis here. We got a question from Joe. What's up, Joe? He's asking about Clorox, not a stock I have looked at probably all year. It's a boring consumer CLX, boring consumer staple. Having a good year though. I mean, hey, staples, right?
Listen, the boring stocks are working. What I would say about this is Clorox acted like a growth stock during COVID. So let's just take it back. This was COVID, right? And this thing absolutely skied. We all thought we were going to be like Clorox wiping everything all the time forever.
Hey, I was. You were. I was. Come on.
I mean, I live in Florida, so to a degree, I guess. But yeah, this thing ended a long time ago. August 2020 was the peak for Clorox. But look at this massive base that we have now. Let's break down this base. I think let's mark this thing up, right? So trend line, for me, I don't really care about touches, right? It's just the direction of the trend. We got a trend line break there. I'll draw up a nice little base here. A couple touches there on that base, right? Resolved higher. Let's throw on the 200-day just to make that super clear. There it is. See the downtrend. You see the sideways trend. Now we're starting to slope higher. We're out of this base. So I think, this one is transitioned now to a place where the path of least resistance is higher. My only problem, if I were to have any qualms with Clorox, let's chart it against its peer group, right? So this is Clorox relative to Staples. I don't like this, right? Just it's been lagging for a long time. It's been an underperformer in its own group for a long time. Does look like maybe it's getting out of this base and is ready to assume a leadership role. But there are so many other stocks in the Staples space, that are making new highs, breaking out of really nice bases, and showing leadership over longer time frames. I'd rather hang out in those names. Go look to a Hershey's or a Monster Beverage or even a Pepsi at this point. There's a lot of opportunities in the Staples sector. I think reaching for Clorox is getting a little cute.
Okay. All right. Dan Tritola. Dan says, love your work. He's talking to you, not me. Can you tell me your thoughts on PNR, Pentair, the water treatment company?
Yep. Listen, it's always a bull market for water. These guys are very much involved. I don't know if they're technically industrial. Listen, it's always a bull market for water. These guys are very much involved. The hell I don't know if they're technically industrial. Listen,
no.
It's always a bull market.
We're hearing
for
a
water.
replay of ourselves.
These guys are very much involved. The hell no.
Izzy, can we get that?
Oh, that was me. That was me.
That was Straza?
Sorry, guys.
Oh no. Okay. We're good now. We're good.
I keep the YouTube open to
okay. Okay.
All right. So PNR, again, this is the pattern that we're seeing when we look at any stock that we want to be buying right now, right? We got the downtrend, the sideways trend, and now are we in the new uptrend is the big question for a lot of these stocks. PNR pretty much there. I would say let's get back above these year-to-date highs, right? It's called $60. And then sure, all day. I like this. Let's see if we have some clean levels we can trade against. So let's draw a fib here. Cycle highs. Kind of in the middle of the box here. So, what you could do is just define your risk right here at these pivot highs. Right? Like I said, $60. Maybe you get confirmation here around 64. And then look, you trade it back to 80, back to those highs. So let the base complete though. Buy on strength above the year-to-date highs.
Nice. All right. H Chan, let's go back to tech here. H Chan asking about ASML, the foreign semiconductor company. What is it, Dutch? I never remember where they are.
It is Dutch, yeah.
Okay.
So, listen, from a fundamental standpoint, there aren't many companies out there in the semiconductor space working on more exciting things than ASML. Like these guys are like NVIDIA, they got their hands in everything. And now the price chart is starting to confirm that, right? So again, looking for these bases, we're looking for clean levels where we can define our risk and get in. And we have one really nicely right here, right? So we've retraced now 62% of this move. That's a key Fibonacci retracement number. Typically, if you're going to retrace 60% of a drawdown or an advance, you're going to go on to retrace the full 100%. If that happens, right, like we should expect, if we get above this 62% here around 693, that means back to the all-time highs of 895, right? So I do like ASML here a lot. We have, these March highs from 22, the February highs from earlier in the year. So buy on strength 693 is that level. I like this name a lot. I like it long-term too.
I love it when the stock is at the level, like it is right there, like it's there.
Those are the ones I buy. There's a lot of nice bases out there right now completing. I like to buy the cleanest ones, right? Yep. That have price memory or really clear polarity zone where I can define my risk. This one,
all right.
This is a great example of that.
Nikki Boons, what up, gang? What up, Nikki Boons? Thoughts on Costco? Yeah, my thought is I'm going there on Saturday. I'll spend $500.
Didn't I see them? Yeah, I mean, you know what I love at Costco? The appliances. I used to go there back in the day, the Port Chester Costco, shout out, what a great place. TVs, refrigerators, laptops, monitors. Shit, you can even buy your eyeglasses there. Used to get
Yep.
gas there. Costco's a great
I
business.
yeah, gas is cheap at Costco.
I can't say enough good things. Kind of a mess here. You know, can I just let me dive in? I don't like this, right? This is a sideways trend. It's messy. Like I said, you know, you got something like Walmart, who I would say is a pretty close competitor. I'm sorry about my internet today. So you got something like Walmart. Look at this thing, you know, trading back up towards the upper bounds. I'm on charts, right? So I would rather buy something like this than a Costco. Really kind of a messy trend. Let's look at the weekly, see if we can figure out something here. Ooh, look at this. Like markets are fractal, right? We talk about this a lot. So when you look at it on a weekly, it's more of like an uptrend and then like a triangle pattern, some sort of longer term continuation pattern here. So I think you could, right? So you could draw a trend line there and buy that breakout. Look at the way this stock just steadily grinds higher over time. I'm zooming out over 10 years here, right? So this is, what does this chart tell me when I zoom out and look at Costco over the long run? This is a stock that you just buy dips in, right? And it continues to reward you. So if we're doing that now, not a big trend line guy, but we got it drawn here. Buy the breakout from this trend line, maybe use these pivot highs for confirmation, 511, and trade it back to the all-time highs, like 600. Not the biggest gain, but it's a low volatility stock. Let me just, because I'm a big fan of these businesses, I like BJ's more, right? So BJ's is about as close of a competitor as it gets to Costco, especially for us people up in the Northeast. You're familiar with this name, BJ's Wholesale. It's been a lot stronger than Costco. And it just IPO'd not long ago. I really like the structure here more so. And I think, you know, BJ's, you could just buy a breakout to these all-time highs, high 70s, maybe $80, right? So that's the level for BJ's. And what do we do when we're, you know, analyzing competitors or the same industry group and trying to pick, you know, the one that we want within a group? I think we did this with Uber and Lyft, Spencer. You probably remember a few weeks back.
We do eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right. You could do that, or you can
Okay.
simply chart them against one another, right? So BJ's came public back here in 2018, built out a nice base on a relative basis versus Costco, and it's been moving higher, right? So the trend on a relative basis has been in favor of BJ's over Costco. I think that continues. You see the long-term moving average continuing to slope up here. So that would be a name that I'd be watching too for people who are interested in Costco.
I wonder why it's so interesting that one has outperformed the other. So, like you said, the same business. It's interesting.
Merck and Pfizer. Like you saw that Merck and Pfizer chart the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Two closer competitors literally moving in opposite directions.
Yep, that's it. All right. De La Riva. Let's hear about Salesforce. Let's hear about it. It's tech. It's SaaS. It's software. It's
right
eating
pond.
the world.
Yeah. So when I hear Salesforce, I think you're fishing in the right pond, right? These are the kinds of names you want to be buying. Big cap tech. This is very much that. Let me clean up my chart here a little bit before I mess it up. These guys had a nasty drawdown, right? So peaked out just like most things in late 21, early 22. And look at this pretty base, right? So this one's already leaving the station. I like to define these bases at these August highs if I can, right? So what do we have here in Salesforce? We started creeping higher out of this base in April, right? And I love to see something like this. What is this? It's a bullish continuation pattern, not below the breakout level. The breakout level I've just drawn here with this red and gray rectangle. We saw this stock chop around and consolidate in a tight, you know, call it a pennant formation right at the upper bounds of the breakout level, right? This, you know, 193-ish level. Then when we got that resolution, that would have been the time to buy this. So for now, you know, we're trading about what, 212. I would rather buy weakness back towards this 200, 193 level, right? But either way, what's important here is that we got the resolution, right? We completed the base. So use 197. It's really a zone for me between 193 and 200, right? I love how the 38% comes in right here around 197. First target, 241. And here's the thing, like Spencer, we can draw these charts for so many tech stocks, and we continue to see more and more break out of the bases, hit their first targets, and then some like NVIDIA now go on to potentially hit those second targets, which is going to be back at the all-time highs. So if I could just throw up another example of a chart that looks like Salesforce to give you an idea of where it could be going here, right? We did the same thing with Microsoft. Clean up the fibs here. Got the breakout, hit the 61% retracement. Now we're heading back to those all-time highs. NVIDIA is the same thing. Google's the same thing. So when we look at a stock like Salesforce and say to ourselves, where is this likely to go? I can look to these other big cap tech peers and say, they already hit target 1 on their way to target 2. Salesforce probably at least hits target 1, right?
Yeah. Let me go back to the chat here. Wing of Tech asked about market cap. I told him anything above $1 billion, pretty much, right? That's your universe.
Yep, 1 billion. In terms of like average dollar volume, I want at least like 10 million if we're gonna be messing around in there.
Every so often, there's like a former darling stock that is not $1 billion anymore, and but it's still interesting, right? So, but by and large, $1 billion. Okay, Nike, they always report off cycle, so their earnings report's probably coming up in like a week or two. How's that chart look to you?
I love Nike. Yeah, listen, not as good as some of the others. And a lot of these shoemakers are trending very well right now. I could show you some like Deckers, I think Crocs, I think Foot Locker's doing well too.
They report tomorrow.
Yeah, there's just others in the shoemaker and accessory businesses that do look better than Nike. Skechers making new highs. So with Nike, I would say, look, you got the January highs, you got the April highs here. You got a little shelf of price memory or overhead supply that we kind of got to work through here.
Cool.
So I wouldn't really be considering this one for long until we're back above those pivot highs called 130.
Okay, and Wing of Tech, MTRN. I don't know that one. What is MTRN? Mary Tango. What is that? Materion. I don't know that one.
Materials?
Let's see. It is come on, internet. It's a mining company. Okay.
What kind of mining company? Industrial metals and minerals. All right.
That's a new one for me.
Base metals. All right. Looks better than most in its space right now. I'm looking at a lot of these industrial metals and materials charts, and they're looking very toppy. Something obviously happened here. If I was going to participate in this, wow, earnings, 24% on earnings. I wonder exactly what was said there. I have a little news today. They increased their dividend. That's nice. You're seeing that a lot in the commodity stock space, though these guys are still, hiking dividends. All of their fundamentals continue to look better and better and better. I think that probably changes this year, just based on what we're seeing in commodities markets, right? If the prices of the products that they're mining for and producing and selling are falling, then their top and bottom lines are going to too. And I think that's going to start flowing through to earnings probably this quarter and next. We're already seeing a little bit of it this quarter, which I think has a lot to do with this material sector weakness. This one's really gappy to me. Even look at the momentum here, kind of like jagged, moves. I don't like the way the stock trades with these big gaps and these huge bars and then, huge down bars. Is it big enough, Spencer? What's the cap on this guy?
Yeah. I'm seeing 2.1 billion.
Yeah. All right. No, I don't love it. I don't like the way it trades. Like, I'll look at the character of certain stocks, the way this is so gappy and volatile and moves around. I wouldn't be looking to trade this one. But listen, if you're looking for a place to define your risk, it's right here.
Yeah, wide volume, not a widely traded stock. Giovanni is asking to trigger us here. Is asking, hey, can you please show KRE? Sure, it's your show, right?
Look. All right. If tech and the rest of the market is going to keep on just screaming higher, these stocks are going to play catch up. You're not going to see banks and financials continue to move down and to the right while the rest of the market moves up and to the right. It's not sustainable. So either tech is going to catch lower, and it's not. It's showing no signs of that at all. In fact, I think the last 2 days have been a huge development for the tech and growth trade because we're getting resolution after resolution after resolution and confirmation. So it's really starting to look like, on absolute terms, these tech and growth stocks are now in new uptrends, right? So we would have to expect a reaction higher or a leg higher from here. I don't think regional banks are going to keep falling in an environment where the leaders are making a leg higher. So I am looking for catch up here, but at the same time, I don't want to trade it. I especially don't want to trade individual names. I just don't trade charts that look like this. For me, this is trash. Like, where do you get in? I guess maybe bet on a squeeze below these pivot lows. But what's really important about banks right now isn't the chart. It's that the whole game has changed for these guys. It's becoming a socialized industry in a way. They're becoming regulated utilities. So maybe we don't let them fail and we keep saving these banks. I think, why more haven't gone out yet. I think they are getting help behind closed doors, probably not hearing about it very much in the news. But their upside will also be capped. And that's what's being priced in. Some of us on our team like the way like JP Morgan is trading and stuff like that. They all look terrible to me. I don't want to touch any of these things. If you are going to do it, please use the index. Unless you think you're smart enough to sift through and figure out what banks are vulnerable to failing and which ones are not. That's not a game even I want to play. I used to be a banking analyst. So buy the index, spread your risk out a little bit. Maybe use these lows from this bearish continuation pattern, which resolved lower just last month around 41, and bet on a squeeze above there. But the fundamentals for these companies has changed, and that's what continues to get priced in. I think there's very little to be excited about here.
Look, if you want to catch knives, then be prepared to get cut. This is the only thing, right? Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do it for Joey. We'll do Palo Alto Networks, PANW, and then we'll hop.
So this is Cyber Securite, Palo Alto. Always a pretty good name, right? Yeah, look at this. Hey, already back towards those all-time highs. Not many stocks can say the same. For this one, Joey, I think you want to be patient, right? Because I don't think you're going to find a great place to define your risk. Yeah, look, kind of in no man's land here. Maybe weakness back towards this 180-ish level, but I really don't love that. I would be, for this one, you want to buy the breakout to new highs. Be patient. You'll probably get it. The rest of the space seems to be going. So that level's about 210, 212. Let's just zoom out and look at a weekly. Yeah, look at this. It's just a secular leader. Been a really strong stock for a really long time. It's in a nice group. I would eventually just wait for it to reclaim those all-time highs, 210, 212. Price target about 262 there.
All right, we've come to the end of our show. This show, Chart Request Live, airs twice a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have a stock or a ticker, whatever, and you want us to talk about it, but you're not going to remember to be in the chat or whatever, just email us. You can always email us a ticker, and I keep track on what emails come in. So just email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com. If you just drop it, say, this is for CRL, I'll make a note of it. We'll talk about it on the next show. So do that. Hey, drop us a like if you'd be so kind. We'd appreciate that. Subscribe to our channel. You'll get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Just hit that subscribe button. We appreciate that as well. Follow Straza on Twitter @SStraza. I'm @SJIsrael. And that's a wrap. Mr. Straza, always a pleasure. And talk to you later.
Stick with tech, guys. Tech keeps working. Stick with tech. Thanks for joining, everybody. Peace.